Hi and welcome to the next instalment of Brooklyn's World. In this video you'll see that I've been having a bit of a rough time lately. So my tube dramas just keep on going. I've now just finished my second lot of antibiotics because my throat is still really sore and I was starting to get this disgusting white build-up around the tube, which I don't even know what that was. I think it was infection. And then that was making things even worse because then it was like that white stuff was all sort of hitting the sides of my throat as well, making it even more sore. So one day I had to resort to trying to remove that. Now, I couldn't just stick my finger down there and scrape it off. So I came up with the ingenious idea that I would use one of these, a barbecue skewer. So I was using that and sort of putting that down and scraping off things a bit. It made a little bit of difference, but the pain is still there and it's just not going away. And the lymph node that was sort of big, it has gone down, but I think that it is still hanging around a little bit. Pretty much at the moment, and definitely over the last week, the pain that I've been getting, it's just relentless, and I feel like I'm just living on painkillers all the time, which is not ideal and not something that I like to be doing. My tolerance level is pretty much at its end. I think I can't take this much longer. Some days the pain is so bad, literally any movement just makes it all 10 times worse. So recently I've spent days where I've literally just lied on the couch watching TV. And for me, that's not my usual style. Even when I'm really sick, I'm not very good at resting or just lying on the couch or going to bed. I just get really restless when I do that, but not this time. I've been quite happy literally just to lie on the couch for hours at a time, not moving. And my whole way of life seems to be changing, and I don't like it. This is just taking away too much from me for now. It's affecting my work. It's affecting everything that I do at home, even the most simplest of chores. It affects me even just going down the street to, go to the shops or just do the most simplest things. And because I can only pretty much rely on myself to be able to do all of these things, then that's a really big obstacle. And I just don't know how much more of this I can take. I spoke to my gastroenterologist last week because I was meant to be booked in a week or so to get a proper tube put into my belly. And that was all fine until I found out that he'd cancelled my hospital appointment and hadn't even told me. So I rang to find out what was going on, and he said, I want you to have one more test, which is just a barium swallow, because he wants to see if there's any blockages anywhere. Then he said, depending on what that test said, then they'll either operate to give me the proper peg or they'll operate to get rid of the blockage. So I wasn't real happy about that. I especially wasn't happy that he cancelled the surgery without even telling me about it. So I asked him, can you take out this tube? Just while you're fiddling around trying to figure out what you want to do, just let me have a break. And he's like, no, I won't take it out. It's doing you some good. So that is why it's still in at the moment, even though I don't know how many times I've asked for it to be taken out. So I think that I may need to take things into my own hands and just go and get it taken out myself. Well, that's it. I've had enough. Can't take it anymore. So I've just got myself down to the emergency department where I'm going to beg them to take this tube out. Well, the hospital visit was a complete waste of time. I sat there for 4 hours only to be told by a nurse that none of the doctors will take out my tube because that would be going against my gastroenterologist's wishes. Next thing to do was to go and have the barium swallow test. taste of the liquid that I had to have was absolutely disgusting. It tasted like a combination of chalk and flour mixed with some peppermint flavouring. The test was really rough to go through and I felt sick for many hours afterwards. Hopefully having the test gives my gastroenterologist the answers that he wants so he can go further with my treatment. A few days after the test, I called my gastroenterologist to see what was happening now and to see what the results of the test were. He eventually called me back many days later and said that the test was clear, but he still wasn't going to go any further with my treatment just yet because he wanted to discuss it with some of his colleagues to decide the best course of treatment. I asked for the tube to be taken out once again, and once again he said no. I tried to explain to him that my tube gives me so much pain, it is unbearable at times. And his response, the tube can't possibly be hurting you. And if you have pain, it's probably from one of the other conditions that you have. I'm sorry, Mr. Gastroenterologist, but I've lived with the pain of all my other conditions for over 8 years now. I know what that pain feels like. So don't tell me that I cannot have throat pain when I know for sure that I do, and it is not related to anything else that I have. So it is just over 4 months now that I've had my tube in, and it still gives me grief every day. My body hates it, and I'm still experiencing dumping syndrome. And the worst bit of it, my weight isn't majorly increasing. So right now, I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place because I can't seem to get anybody to take this tube out of me while I wait for my gastroenterologist to decide what he's going to do next.